Hey guys, big game weekend, February 8th, Shirts versus Skins in New Orleans at the Uno Lakefront Arena. Me, Nikki Glazer, Tony Hinchcliffe, and Adam Reyes, Dr. Phil, and dare I say, a very special guest who's been at all of these. Get your tickets at Bert.com.
And I've been through some crazy shit in my life. And everything that I've been through is in this role. And they say, oh, you disappeared. I was like, I reappeared. Got emotional.
That's why this is so good, because I know you. And I know what you've been through, and I know all the stuff, and I'm watching you do this, and you're just shining.
Yeah, the first time I ever met you, I was about to go up on stage at the Laugh Factory, and you wandered in from a day of day drinking.
Yes.
And I thought it was a bit. You were red-faced and hammered.
Yeah.
And you got up on stage and crushed it, and I was just like, I'd never seen anything like that before.
I think I tried to get you to take your shirt off on stage that night.
You know, did you really? I don't remember. I was so petrified because I'm a little late to the game with stand-up.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I'll tell you the actual first time, because you're not going to believe that this happened to me. But I have witnesses. In fact, it's documented at Just for Laughs. And I've never looked at it because it was so terrifying. My agent, about 15 years ago, my agent at the time said, hey, got a great gig for you. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Host Just for Laughs. And I was like, we don't know. You're an actor. You don't know really what that is. Oh, okay. You do a little research. Oh, I'm not. I don't do stand up. Oh, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna crush it. Okay. And you trust your agent. You get there. I went there with Callan, who backed me up.
Yeah.
And he goes, we should check out and see what is expected of you. I said, okay, cool. We go there. Just for Laughs. They said, okay, we're doing it live, and Jeremy opened with a quick 20. And exactly, that look on your face is what Brian thought. I'd never done stand-up in my life. I did 20 minutes of stand-up on live television. I'd never done it in my life. And he was terrified. And he said, let's go to dinner, brother. And he said, here's what you're going to do. Tell me a story right now. And I told him the story about taking my mom as my date to the Golden Globes, and I introduced her to Meryl Streep, and my mom froze, and she literally couldn't move. And I was like, Mom, what are you doing? And she loves Meryl Streep so much.
Yeah.
She almost started crying, and it was just, he goes, stop. All you're going to do is tell that story on stage. And bro, he goes, we're going to have to lowball it, and we're going to have to do some, what they think of you. We're gonna do some Ari Gold bullshit. Yeah. You're gonna throw me out. I'm gonna sit in the second row. You engage with me, throw me out. We just have to eat up time. We have to run the clock out. But your through line is telling that story. I'm so dumb that I wasn't scared. Now, after knowing what stand-up is, there's no way I could do that.
Oh, 20 minutes to open a show. My first time I ever did stand-up was in Tallahassee, and they had me do 20 minutes to close the show. So they had 4 comics who were
That's even worse.
But I was so dumb. There's something so beautiful in being dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to switch. I want to talk about this, but I got to talk about your movie because I'm obsessed with this movie. The performance.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with it.
I'm obsessed with it.
I've been a fan of yours since Judgment Night. Judgment Night was the first movie I ever saw you in.
Wow.
You had a line in Judgment Night, and I've talked to you about this. I think I have, where you're having sex with a hooker. You're about to kill her on accident.
Oh, you're thinking Very Bad Things.
No. I'm thinking Judgment. No, wait. Is it Very Bad Things?
Yes.
Okay. The Judgment Night. Yeah. You have a line in Judgment Night that I'm obsessed with. Oh, okay. Where you think you're going to work the deal.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, listen, you have to understand what my life is like. I have guys screaming, hey, bro, I loved it when you killed the hooker.
The hooker. When you were fucking the hooker and you thought I was going to be some frat boy, didn't you? I love that line.
You thought I was going to be some punk.
Yeah.
Some punk little bitch.
Because love that line.
Well, the way into that character was I always wanted to play a guy that was with a stripper and he thinks that she gets him, that he's different than anyone else, and she's going to really get him.
It was Very Bad Things.
And just a very delusional character. Pete Berg directed the shit out of that.
Pete Berg's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, he is.
I ran into you and Pete Berg at a bar in Soho one night in probably 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, and Pete Berg was in the skiing movie.
Uh-huh.
I forget the name of the skiing movie.
Aspen Extreme. Holy shit.
And I just seen it that day. And you guys were cool as fuck. I walked up to you guys, Lucky Strike.
You lucky strike.
And I walked up to both of you guys. You were sitting at the bar having a beer, and I was like, I don't even what. I mean, I don't. I always say that because I assume that's what you're doing, but I don't know what you guys are doing. But I walked up and I was like, dude, you were in Ask Me in a Stream. I just watched that today. He was cool. You were cool. And then I saw you. I was like, shut the fuck up. And you guys were both cool as shit. I think I said to myself, if I ever got to be a celebrity, I'd be like you guys. Like, because you guys, those are formative years when you meet. You guys were celebrities when it was really hard to be famous.
You know, it's all part of it, man. What is hard? But you know, it's funny you say that. Well, thank you for saying that we were decent human beings, because that could have been a terrible story where I was a piece of shit to you. And thank God this whole thing worked out well. No, but you're. I think because you're so authentic, people are drawn to you. And forgive me, this is gonna go in a whole different direction. But that's one of the reasons you're so successful.
It's kind of interesting because I know you for a period, and this is what's awesome about this fucking movie, the performance. There was a period where you got typecast as like the slick bad guy at the party or whatever, you know, like that was like, you know, I mean, Ari Gold's like, it's really hard to be a guy that creates this character that is culturally a phenomenon especially around fucking bros. That's the man. And that is that character is a stamp. And then I watched this fucking movie that I can't stop thinking about. I thought about it all day. This is gonna sound like a slight. There's only one other movie. There's a couple movies that I saw and I could never stop thinking about. It's like fucking Usual Suspects, Time Traveler's Wife, The Butterfly Effect. They're just movies that like you watch and then you go, I have so many fucking questions. I have so much. But this movie is phenomenal. I want to talk to your sister because your sister did something. I'm not going to give any of this away. I don't want everyone to see this movie. But at the end of the movie, your sister said so much in the last 5 seconds of that movie that, I mean, got me emotional. In 5 fucking seconds, she says, one thing, another thing, another thing, and another thing, and it ties the fucking movie together.
Yeah, and brings it to the current day. And by the way, unfortunately, the movie couldn't be any more timely considering what's going on right now. And I've been after this film for 15 years.
So wait, tell me about all this. I know, like, okay, I have to ask.
Yeah.
I'm watching the beginning of this movie. You're doing the dancing.
It's funny you say that. I said to my sister, look, she's my older sister, and you know, to work with a sibling sounds insane, but the reality is we grew up in the theater. We grew up being directed by our parents, and she directed my parents. She's directed me. And so we're all very comfortable together. It's all good, right? So we trust each other. And I said, look, we have to make the audience feel comfortable. Do me a favor. I'm not going to tell you your shot, but you have to right now start on my feet. Let me dance. Let me dance and do my thing, and then pan up to me so the audience can go, oh, okay, he can dance. And then they can settle in and watch the movie, because I don't want you sitting there going, wait, was that him? We don't want that.
It's so smart.
Yeah, had to do it.
I mean, I'm a real quick overview of the movie so people know what we're talking about. Okay. This is a movie about, and I don't want to give anything away because I want to tell, but like, it's a dancer from Chicago.
From Brooklyn, 1937.
I thought it was Chicago.
Yeah.
But I guess I fucking thought it was Chicago.
Because I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
No, it's Brooklyn. And by the way, Arthur Miller wrote this short story. My mother gave it to me 15 years ago and said, there's something in here for you. And my mom is she's my first acting teacher. And she's a woman she's not very frivolous. It's like when she says something, it lands. And I was like, okay. I immediately read it. And I was so blown away, like you were watching that film. And I just thought, if I could pull this off somehow, not to be dramatic, but it'll be the work of my life.
Oh, okay.
By far.
Hold on. I'm already saying, like, I was watching it and I go, so like this is like an Oscar worthy performance.
Well, that's what they're saying, and bless them. And by the way, this is a little indie film, man. And we're up against all the big studio films with all their money. I'm so sorry. I have a fucking birthday cake and I'm trying to eat it with chopsticks.
I love snowboarding. I love to tag on a snowboarding trip to an already occurring trip. And I'm doing that this February. But man, traveling with a snowboard is a pain in the ass. That's right. I still snowboard. Here's the deal. If you're like me and you're young and you're hip and you're cool, Ship Skis offers white glove shipping for skis and snowboard gear. What a no-brainer. Ship Skis delivers to 180 countries for hassle-free, gear-free journeys. That means you skip all that airport stress and the costly airline fees with complimentary insurance, real-time tracking, dedicated support, and on-time delivery. All you have to do, and this is what I'm doing, just schedule your shipment, attach your label, and ShipSki handles the rest, delivering your gear directly to your destination. So this February, I will fly to New Orleans. Can you imagine flying to New Orleans with a snowboard? I don't think anyone's ever flown into New Orleans with a snowboard in their life. I'll fly to New Orleans. My skis are going to go straight to Park City. My snowboard, Leanne's skis, and we'll meet them there. God, this is the best service I've ever heard of. Right now, ShipSkis is offering our listeners 20% off your first shipment when you go to shipskis.com and use code Bertcast. Go to shipskis.com and use code Bertcast. Get 20% off your first shipment and save yourself the hassle this ski season. That is shipskis.com. And make sure to use the code Bertcast so that they know that we sent you. I have a fucking birthday cake and I'm trying to eat it with chopsticks. So the movie is about a dancer, a Jewish dancer from Brooklyn.
1937, he's not making it and he wants to have a family and he loves what he does and he's really good at it and he's not getting any momentum in his career. And a guy comes backstage.
And hang on, and I need to say this. And this man is a dancer. His dancing defines him. It heals him. It is how he thinks. It's how he behaves. In the opening scene, and I can give this away, he wakes up with a cigarette. I think he's hungover. He feels like shit. And he just fucking dances. And he gets himself out of it. The same way a comic, and then I'm going through this right now. So I took some time off, and I wasn't writing. And then we had to do Jelly Roll's roast. And I had to write jokes for Jelly Roll for the roast. And I ended up realizing, I have a comic's brain, and if it's not focused on comedy, it goes to bad places. And so I just was like, oh, fuck it. We're already working on the new hour. We're done with the time off. We're back. We're done living. We're going to just write. And that is what that character does, and which is so pivotal. And by the way, there's so many connective tissues in my life with this character, but keep going. I'm sorry.
No, but by the way, I felt exactly the same way about the character. And that's why I had to do it. And that's why I never gave up for 15 years. You know, when my mom gave me that script, the short story, I went to Arthur Miller's daughter. He won the Pulitzer Prize for, Death of a Salesman, and he's a brilliant playwright. I went to his daughter, who's married to Daniel Day-Lewis, who's in the background, and I have to pitch myself, and she has to decide whether or not to give me the rights, and he's cueing her. He's the greatest living actor, or the greatest actor of all time, and I'm so intimidated. I don't even remember what I said. Somehow they gave me the rights. Every year I had to keep renewing it. And she felt sorry for me. She's like thinking, oh my God, this guy's never going to make this movie. And it wasn't cheap, brother. And so I knew that if I said, you know what, I'm not going to renew the rights, it would be me giving up on my life, my dream. I know it sounds dramatic, but everything. And I've been through some crazy shit in my life. And everything that I've been through is in this role. Everything. And they say, oh, you disappeared. I was like, I reappeared. Got emotional. No, it happens.
That's why this is so good. Because I know you and I know what you've been through and I know all the stuff, and I'm watching you do this and you're just shining. I mean, that opening scene, I'm like blown away. And then backstage, you go backstage, and I know that energy, and you're hustling. This is
giving up, right? And by the way, that's why you connected to it, and I connected to it, and everyone can connect to it, because at its core, it's about how much of yourself are you willing to compromise for success, and we deal with that every day. Everyone deals with it every day, and my character is willing to risk it all, hide his identity, dance for Hitler, let's go. And his
By the way, that's where I wanted to get to.
Yeah, but my troop was like, are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your fucking mind? And then I come to blows, with one. But by the way, the Nazis, they killed one of my. Well, there's okay. we don't want to give away too much. But listen, for those out there, and by the way, you started this conversation by saying that you're not kind of distracted by current events. The reality is, right now, I think one of the reasons why people are so misguided is we don't know our history. And the reality is the Holocaust did happen and 6 million Jews were killed. And, that's a reality. And this movie is a way that I can contribute to the conversation without, being didactic and doing a tweet or standing on a soapbox and all this bullshit. It's like I'm offering up this film where you're watching my character and Robert Carlyle, who plays the German. We won't go too far, but into what that is. And he and I have such chemistry together, and you're going to see the point of view that maybe you don't have, and see someone else's point of view navigating through a time that you might not have known about. So you're learning about history, and I contribute to this conversation right now. I'm a storyteller, I'm an actor. So this is how I contribute to the story, and then have these conversations where we can talk about it. Genocide, the word came about because of the Holocaust, the premeditated killing of 6 million Jews. And now we're using it in different ways, and that's a whole other conversation we don't need to get into. But this film, for me, I just went, if I could pull this off, the moment, we won't get into it, but I reveal something that changes the whole course of the film and everything else, and I come to terms with who I am as a character. And if I could pull this off, then I will be on to something that I could only dream about. And my God, it's a turning point moment in my life, and we could all talk about the horrors of hatred and of anti-Semitism and racism and all these things, when in a way where people are moved, when they watch this film, no matter who you are, they see where my character's coming from, and they want him to stop, but they also want him to succeed. So they're it's like a conundrum. And I just love the fact that, this thing has so much weight that we can then all have these conversations about the absurdity, of hating someone. You have chemistry with someone, and then you find out their religion, and then they're dead to you. What the fuck is that? And if we could pull that off, and by the way, Robert Carlyle is the best actor on the planet, so I was in good hands.
Your chemistry with him, your scenes with him are fucking. I texted you last night. And it probably and so you said this, but
I didn't want to hit you back because I wanted you to finish the movie.
When you said this at the scene, I don't want to give too much away, but you said they danced for Hitler.
Yeah,
and at that scene, and that scene is interesting in and of itself. It's seen as wild. Your character, it says things that I feel like I've thought.
Yeah.
And because as a performer,
yeah.
And at that scene, I was then mesmerized and I was actually looking away from the screen. I was like, oh my God, fuck, no. There were so many movies. This is a thriller, in my opinion. It is whatever the type of movie, like Single White Female or Hand That Rocks the Cradle, or one of those movies where you as an audience member are in on the truth, but there's a lie being told. That energy is throughout this fucking movie. This movie is fucking so incredible. I could not stop it from the second I started it. And I told you, at a certain point, I had to go to handheld into my phone because I wanted to walk around the room.
Oh,
and I was walking around the room,
like my character does,
putting it down and just listening. And then I'd be like, hold on. You know what's crazy? Sometimes, especially if I have to watch a movie for a podcast, I'll watch it and then I'll skim through it.
Yeah.
This is a movie where, for the first time in my life, and I apologize to anyone that's hearing this, I had to go backwards and go, wait, what did she say? Wait, who was that? Like, there was, the scene where I go, because I was on my phone at this point, and I was like, who's going into that car? And then I was like, well, what's up? Ho. And the fucking, can I tell you, like, the coolest scene is The Ring. I don't want to give anything away, but hey, 20 minutes, we got a surprise. And then goes in and he's blanket in The Ring. Yeah. And I went,
Yeah.
It's so great. It's so fucking. And did you take tap dancing lessons to tap dance?
Here's what happened. We talked a little bit earlier about your superpower, and I think we both have a very similar superpower in the way that we're both very delusional. And I think that really is, it's a big gift. You know what I mean?
I am so delusional.
Yeah.
I have a bet.
Yeah, you're like you're Olympian level, by the way.
I have a bet, Jeremy, that I can bench 315 pounds by January 1st.
Wait, when did you begin that journey?
Last week.
How much do you weigh roughly?
235-ish.
So you're talking almost 100 pounds over your body weight.
Yeah. I think I'm close. Anyway, yeah, I am Olympic delusional, and I love living in it.
Yeah, because we don't get in our own way, and you don't doubt yourself. Both my parents, who were my acting teachers, had this great call growing up. They always said we would get up and improvise and I would butcher, like, check off like really great works of art, like, from an early age, and I would be intimidated. And they kept saying to us, "You're enough. No matter what, you are enough." So when you get up on stage, you're like, "Oh, I'm enough." Yeah. And I just assumed that everyone had a stage and parents, and you could improvise and have fun, and the audience came and they laughed, and I just thought everyone had that.
Yeah.
But I was completely delusional about that. Anyway, my mom gave me the performance, the short story by Arthur Miller, and I went, okay, he's a tap dancer. Cool, I'll learn how to tap dance. Done. And like literally, tap is so difficult. Michael Jackson quit. Michael Jackson couldn't do tap. That's how difficult it is. So I've been a drummer since I was 8 years old. So that's what saved me, okay? Because I always knew rhythmically, like, how to stick the landing. Do you know what I mean? But so I started tap 15 years ago with the guy at the end of the film that's dancing on the street. That's my guy. He was my teacher, and he's the choreographer. Jared Grimes. He's the Michael Jordan of tap. He's
so good.
Oh my God.
That's
what was so intimidating, because I had to tap in front of him every day. And so I started, and he was very patient with me. And I started 15 years ago, and I went to pitch it, and no one wanted to make this film. People want to make indie films that are cheap, that are current, throw some blood on you, scare the shit out of me, flip it, turn it and burn, whatever. This is a period piece. It's going to cost money. They're looking at me, and I'm like, oh, what do you got, Piven? Well, I'm a Jewish tap dancer, and I hide my identity to dance for Hitler. And they're like, yeah, great. Can we get a check, please? No one.
It sounds
ridiculous.
I said, I got you to text me the thing, but you sent me a teaser, and I said, I see the teaser, and I'm like, hey, wait, I need a screener. And Pierce is like, Chrissy was like, oh, yeah, you have a screener. And I go, cool. I go, what is this movie? And she's like, yo, it's like his best performance ever. Oh. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, like, this is yesterday. She's like, no lie, it's like, people are saying this is like an Oscar-worthy performance. Like, it's gonna be a huge fucking thing. And I went, what's the movie? And she goes, well, he's a tap dancer who tap danced for Hitler. And I go, I'm in. I was like, I'm in. Wow. I was like, shut the fuck up. I was like, wait, he tap danced for Hitler? She goes, that's not the point of it. It gets way deeper. And I go, do not spoil this for me. So by the time you get to dance to Hitler, like I knew what was happening.
To give you an example of how insane this process was, by the way, so 15 years. So every year they said no, I just kept tap dancing. And I really want for people to look at my story, and I know I don't care how it's going to sound, and be inspired, because I never gave up. 15 years, man. Everyone laughed at me. No one would cast me. No one would cast me in this role, ever. Mm. You're too old. You can't tap dance. Fuck you. You know what I mean? No one. But so my point is, you have to make your own breaks. You know that. That's what we do. So I stayed with it. And my sister did a brilliant job adapting the script, her and Josh Salzberg, and she directed the hell out of it. And so here we are, and I just kept tapping until we found the money, and I was finally good enough to pull the role off. And here we are with divine timing, the rise of anti-Semitism and the madness in the world. And there's no better time for a movie like this to come out, so we can start talking about and addressing some of these issues.
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you what hit me? I said this earlier, I'm an uninformed person. I don't pay much attention to politics. I don't pay much attention to a lot of things. The things that interest me are the things that interest me, and they draw my focus. Look, Brianna Chicken Fry and Zach Bryan, I'm fucking obsessed. I was obsessed. I was really into it. Right now, the Andrew Schultz and Kendrick Lamar thing, that's on my radar.
Yeah.
I'm a 50-year-old man who plays like a child. Mm-hmm. What's so amazing about this movie is your character is me in essence. You're like, and I'm not giving away anything, but you're like, yo, I'm getting to do my thing. Like, I know stuff's bad. And then look, I'm more thinking about me. I'm getting to do my thing. And then when you see what is actually happening, it affects the character. Your character sees just something and is like, oh, that's kind of odd. And then you're like, wait, what the fuck? And I think that's how that's why I connected so much with this character. So I'm just obsessed with stand-up. And a lot of times, my overlook, and I'm thinking about this, what's your overlook where you go, but it's an audience. Babe, it's sold out. Hang on. I know it's her fucking recital, but it's my show and it's a theater. It's at the Wilbur. I sold 2 shows. I can't cancel it. Like, I know that she's graduating college, or high school. I understand, but you don't understand. This is an arena. Like, that overlook, that convincing yourself until the point where you say, I have to go home. Like, that moment, that's where I was connecting with this character so much, because that's not his character isn't Bert, but it is the artist going, there's a stage and an audience, and they want me. You don't understand? They never wanted me before. Now they want me. You know, I've been wanting them to want me my whole fucking life, right. And now they want me.
I'm finally getting my moment, and you're saying you want me to not engage. And you want me to go home. No. I'm going to have my moment. And yeah, we all identify with this. And I identified with it so much. It was insane. It was like, I felt like I was living it. I mean, you know, like, I'm hard on myself and I'm looking at that. Sometimes it was hard. It's hard for me to even look at the movie because I was so immersed in it. People were like, how much do you like Ari Gold? All the time. How much of an asshole are you is the real question, you know? And what they don't realize is there is an Ari Gold out there. There's a real character. It's a real Ari Emanuel.
I think he owns the UFC, right?
He owns the UFC, and he's a brilliant businessman.
Yeah.
And with this character, I was like, oh my God, I really identify with him so much. It was just incredible. But I was also the producer on this. And when you're working with your older sister, you know, I want to give her all the freedom and feel like she's, you know, absolutely running the show. Also, I've been a journeyman actor my whole life. So I forgot I was the producer. I'm the producer of this film. I own this film. I forgot. So there'd be moments where, like, I should just put my foot down. And instead I was just like, you know, thinking like, oh shit, yeah, whatever you want. Even though I'm about to say something I shouldn't say, and I'm going to get in trouble, and I'll never be allowed to go to Thanksgiving ever again with my family. But I got to tell you, I'm going to come here every Thanksgiving from now on.
Done.
So learning these dances it was so fucking hard, man. I can't even tell you. Because it's one thing to learn, you know, you got your blocking. Okay, we're going to come here, go there, turn around, you're going to end up here. Great. Well, I'm all good. But I had to learn all of the dances, and there's a lot of them. And you're playing the drums with your feet at the same time. Okay. So I'm learning the choreography, and that was, and everyone in my troupe, they're all professional dancers. Those are killers. Those are born killers. You know what I mean? It would be like you at the beginning of your stand-up, someone going, okay, we're going to throw you in there with Richard Pryor and Lenny Bruce, you know, enjoy. You're like, what the fuck? Anyway, so I said to my sister, look, can we just, the numbers are 4 minutes long with the music, and I'm going to screw up at some point. Can we just break it at least in half or in thirds? I'll crush it. No, we can't. And it's your sister, and I shouldn't be telling this story. And it's your sister. And by the way, I could have just said, oh, okay, great. Just so you know, we have to break it up. I'm sorry. I'm the producer, and we're going to thank you so much. But instead, I'm thinking like little actor bitch boy, you're the director. Okay, whatever you want. Knowing I'm going to have to compromise my performance. And that, to be honest with you, hurts me more than anything. I just want an opportunity to win.
Yeah. And
I got in my own way, and I was like, I knew it, and I just fucking ate it. The only reason I tell you this story is because I'm going to give away a lot with the film, but I don't care. There's a moment where I get beaten pretty badly.
Yes.
Very badly. Now, that is real, unfortunately, because I finally put my producer hat on and went, we got to go. I got to do my own stunts. And there was a guy there. You know, I have blonde hair, so I have this amazing blonde wig. The guy had the identical wig. We look exactly the same. He was younger, better looking, Turkish, strong kid who is a real stunt man. I'm a fucking Jewish journeyman, actor from Chicago.
Yeah.
And so I go, I got this. I'm going to do all the stunts. Hardwood floor, no mat, no nothing. They kick me in the stomach. I fly in the air and I am immersed in the scene. I'm not thinking like a stunt man. And I land on my ribs on my fist and break 8 ribs immediately. And the sound, I'll tell you what 8 ribs sound like. It sounds like when you have a plastic, water bottle and when you're done drinking and you crunch it.
Oh my God.
That's what your ribs sound like. And then they start piercing your lungs and then you can't breathe.
Yeah.
And then the pain is, you can't quite describe it.
Oh, I've broken my ribs twice. There is, and I've fallen off a waterfall and hurt my back. Rib pain, there is nothing like it. Every night is a prison cell.
Yep.
Every night you go into bed going, how the fuck are we doing this
just
tonight?
Painkillers.
Oh.
Painkillers and you're just...
You know what they say? They say you're supposed to sleep on your ribs, on your broken ribs.
I just sat up with painkillers. And by the way, I couldn't breathe. And the sounds that were coming out of me, you hear in the film. All that shit's real. That shit's real.
God.
Yeah. And I'm breathing.
That scene is so fucking dark.
I can't even watch that shit. It's so anyway, so
I was standing in my gym. I have sliding glass doors that take me to the backyard. I was standing in the corner of my sliding glass door where it meets the wall. In my corner. I was standing in my corner watching it, going, what the fuck am I watching? It is so fucking dark.
It's intense as shit, man. And I couldn't breathe. And the producer, the Slovakian producer goes, you're okay. And I go, I broke my ribs. And he goes, you didn't break your ribs. If you broke your ribs, you would know. I'm like, you know what I mean? Just the sounds and tears and my ribs are smashed. And he goes, we'll take you to the oldest hospital in Bratislava. I was like, I want the newest hospital, bitch. They took me to the oldest fucking hospital. And brother, I think it was an insane asylum. I thought there was a dude just kind of cross-eyed mopping the floor. They took me in, x-rayed me, and told me to go home. I knew something was wrong. I just gobbled tons of painkillers, kept playing through the scene in the bathtub where I go underwater.
Yeah.
The guy just took our Lael, our brilliant DP, had this camera that would go underwater with me, right? So my sister's screaming, stay underwater. They told me, don't stay underwater because you can't get water in your ribs. Yeah. So now to get the shot, my sister's screaming, stay underwater, and I've got broken ribs. The whole thing was like, it was madness, but we did it, man.
Dude.
And it, I have to say, it's the feeling. It's funny. You said in the beginning of the film, I looked hungover, and I know why you say that, because I was really sick in the beginning of the film, because the night before we started filming, they came to me and said, we don't have enough money. But by the way, I'm going to tell you another, not now because it'll take too long, the making of this film, because we have to make this movie. They said to me, I kid you not, you have to get on a plane, fly to London, perform, do a stand-up show, make the money, come back. Otherwise, we can't make this film. So it was like one of these crazy last-minute things. And I knew, oh shit, I'm about to be stressed like a motherfucker. I'm about to start the biggest film of my life. I'm going to get on a plane. And I knew it right away. I'm going to go there. I'm going to come back. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to get on set. I'm going to be sick. And I was. So that first scene, I'm sick as shit. And my sister takes, the rug that I roll up and I'm tapping on the floor and smoking. She takes that rug, which is probably from the 14th century and probably has polio in it, and she starts smacking it.
Oh, it was such a beautiful shot. It was such a beautiful shot.
Amazing.
Your sister's really good, by the way.
She's the shit.
Like, your sister's like legit fucking... I was like, the very fucking first 3 minutes of the movie, I'm like, ooh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is, and I was like, I'm like, how much did they
we
make
needed
it for?
the dust particles coming through the light onto me as I'm smoking and tap dancing. And when she was beating all the polio out of the rug onto me and I'm sick, I just had this feeling like, you know, when you just, and I know you felt this in your life, you're like, bring it on. Whatever you got, bring it. I'm going to walk through this shit. I'm gonna be fine. I feel like shit, but just keep it coming, brother, because we're gonna make it. And it's a really empowering feeling. I've been through a lot in my life. Weird shit has happened, and when you make it through alone, without anyone, and you do have this feeling. It's very powerful, and so you know it's a great feeling. And then to have this is the first time I'm sitting down talking about the work of my life, and to have you crouched in your corner watching it means the world to me because I risked everything for it.
I mean, it's I'll tell you what's crazy. So the number one, I gotta say one thing: the feeling you're talking about, where you're like, just give me everything. When we were making my movie, I blew out my tricep. I ripped off all the tendons, and it regressed into my arm. In my fight scene, when I go down the flight of stairs. But what's so funny is I was like you, they had stuntmen, and I was like, no man, it's got to look real. You need to see me fly down a flight of stairs. And I was like, and my producer Kale was like, that is the most dangerous thing you can do. And I was like, dude, I'll tell you what, I'll do the first half and I'll do the second half. So only going down half a flight of stairs. And man, I blew out I tackled the guy, I lift him up, and I hear a pop, pop, pop. And I went, oh my God. And I said to my director, Peter Atencio, I said, we still had to film the fight scene. The fight scene is like how I get him down the stairs. I was like, I'll give my left tricep for this movie. He was like, what? And I said, if I got a baby arm, I'll give my left tricep for this movie. I said, it's already fucked up. I'm not getting it fixed in Serbia. I go, it's happening in the States. I go, let's get the fucking movie. Like I'm here. I go, listen, it doesn't hurt yet. It's going to hurt real bad, and I'm going to stop being able to use it. So let's get the fight scene right now. And he was like, great. So I understand that feeling. Entirely.
Yeah, when you're obsessed.
But the thing that is, there's so much to this movie that is like riveting, beautiful. Where did you shoot it?
We shot it in Bratislava, Slovakia. And which is beautiful, and it's doubling for Berlin, and it looks just like Berlin.
It looks just like Berlin.
And we got really lucky with all the locations, and we have the best actors on the planet with us, and I'm acting opposite Robert Carlyle, who's one of the greatest actors in the world, and he's wearing an actual Nazi uniform, and the whole performance is impeccable. And so it was just the whole thing. We were kind of like dancing with some dark forces.
It's crazy because
I think that's probably why I broke those ribs.
As two Jewish kids, there's so much Nazi shit in it. Like I kept thinking. So I was like, well, I know Jeremy's Jewish, so I guess his sister's got to be Jewish. Yeah. And I go, and his sister had to look at Nazi flags and go, can we get it bigger? I was like, and I kept thinking, did they make they can't have found them because there's no way they're still around. They must have had to make Nazi. It was, I was obsessed with that and locations. The locations looked so authentic.
They were, we just got so lucky. The war was going on, obviously, with the Ukraine and Russia. So we took Ukrainian refugees in who needed work, and we put them to work like as extras because they had nowhere to go. You talk to a guy, and he was like, a cop in Kiev, and now he's just on our set with no work, just working as an extra. Talk about like perspective. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
What kind of like you've worked with a lot of actors? If there's, let's say there's do you get into the role and then you kind of disappear into the role, and on set you're not like busting balls and you just kind of focus on it? Because I've worked when I did my movie, there was some that loose that they could just jump right in the role, and then there were some that was like I remember I was talking. There was a pretty intense scene, and I was talking to Mark Hamill about McDonald's, and he's like, "Hey man, we're supposed to be getting ready for this scene. Not everyone can just turn it on." And he was like, I'm getting ready for it. And I went, "Yeah, I know, but I'm going to order Big Macs. Do you want a Big Mac?" And he's like, "Mary Lou doesn't let me eat Big Macs." And I was like, what? And he was like really upset. He goes, my character's upset. I'm not upset with you, but I'm upset in this moment. Like, can we talk about this later? And I was like, oh.
By the way, he wasn't being an asshole.
No.
He was just taking care of himself.
He was taking care of himself.
And by the way, and we look like bitches, and we're just trying to do what serves us so that we can be in the best space in the moment. And, I do a bunch of weird shit, man. I do weird shit. Even as a stand-up, I'm warming my voice up, and there are people going like, what are you doing? Yeah. Bro, there's a microphone, and I'm warming my voice up and doing weird shit. We all have a process, and it depends. Like, for me, I know, you talk about, do I fuck around? To give you a little perspective on, for instance, Ari Gold. Like, for me, like, there's some people, they have photographic memories. I don't. I wish I did. It would save me a lot of fucking time. So I have to own that shit to the point where it's like, I'm in the third month of a play where you're not thinking about your lines. You're just totally present, and you're in state of play, and you're bouncing, and the lines are coming, and you could really be present. That's where you want to be when you act.
Yeah.
But when you're doing TV, it's hard. You have to somehow you have to do your own process to get there, which for me means running it, doing it out loud.
Running it with people or by yourself?
I have to do it with someone.
Yeah.
And by the way, I talk about this on stage, about doing lines with my mom. I mean, running lines. Don't do lines with your mom. Fuck yeah, Mom! I'm so glad you banged Dad. No, don't do lines with your mom, kid. Okay, don't do lines. I talk about this on stage. I run lines with Joyce Piven. She's been my acting teacher since I was 8 years old. So everything I've said is Ari Gold, I've said to her face. And she's a pro. She sits in the pocket. And I, by the way, I did this bit. I didn't know what a clean set was. I got hired for this charity. This is a true story. And it was for people that have had their faces scalded. And I swear to you, bro. And it's to raise money for surgeons to come and for free to reconstruct their face. And so I'm doing this bit where I talk about running lines with my mom, and my mom goes, action. She's a total pro. And I go, Lloyd, have you had so much cum squirted in your eyes that you can't see what's right in front of your fucking face? And I say cum squirted in your eyes. And these people with their scarred faces, you could hear them gasp. And I mean, it wasn't bombing. It was a new level of bombing where they were terrified by me. And then, the press came after me, that like I was torturing these victims. Like, bro, I just didn't know that I was supposed to do a clean set. And it was anyway. So my mother would run lines with me, and, you do it with anyone you can find. So you get to the point where you just feel totally comfortable. Nothing can fuck with you, even though you have a 4-page monologue. But at the same time, I do have to stay in that pocket, so I wasn't much fun, to be honest with you.
You had to be there in your head.
I had to just kind of like be ready, because the reality is, if I didn't, the work would have suffered. And because I had to be word perfect, and I wanted it to be that kind of state of play, anything that happens, and it's, the best version of itself.
Yeah.
I couldn't fuck around, and the rest of the guys could fuck around. They maybe had a line or two, and they had the time of their lives. And, you don't regret anything, but I remember one time trying to engage, and I was fucking around, and we were talking about sports, and I was having so much fun, and they yelled action, and I didn't even know where I was. I sucked so badly. I was like, wait, where are we? So I unfortunately can't do that. There's some people that can do that. Yeah. I'm just not one of them. I wish I was.
Do you know Ari Emanuel?
Yes, he was my agent. And so unbeknownst to me, I really was studying him.
Yeah.
And by the time the role came up, and because a bunch of friends of mine were up to write it, and they got passed over, and I just went, these guys are really good writers. This project must be really cool. And I read about it, and I knew Wahlberg from around town, whatever. And I knew his entourage. And then when I read the script, I go, oh, this is all based on his crew.
Totally forgot this was based on Mark Wahlberg.
Yes.
Because the TV show became its own thing.
Yeah. And
you forget the selling point was this is based on Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. And Adrian Grenier is completely different than Wahlberg, and it went in a different direction. But I just knew, okay, there is an Ari, there's an E, there's his assistant is E, there's a drama, Turtle, all that. And I had already lived my life having Ari as my agent. So I knew that duality of a guy that you thought was a pig, but he really was monogamous. Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, like you have all these, like you're a lunatic.
Yeah.
You're a good guy. It's an interesting duality that's fascinating. And I was like, wow, there's a lot here to play off of. And next thing I know, we're off and running.
God, that's so crazy.
Yeah, man.
I took tap dance lessons.
That shit is insanely hard, isn't it?
This is how naive I am. I was going to do a promo for my special. This is right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, literally like a week before the pandemic. And I was like, I want to shoot, my special's coming out March 17th, St. Patty's Day. I want to shoot a promo where I do like Irish dance. Like, it's like and so they go, oh, you got to take tap dance lessons. So I go over to the tap dance store over on Barham, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's like whenever you're heading out to wherever Warner Brothers is.
Yeah.
I go to the tap dance. I get tap dance shoes. I take lessons. For 1 week, I take lessons, probably 3 lessons, thinking I will figure out tap dance in 3 fucking lessons. And all I could do is like shuffle ball change. Yeah, and all I could do was that. And then
that's something.
And then we get the girls out. I was tap dancing for them downstairs today, showing them and they're like, "You can tap dance?" And I was like, "This is all I can do." And then we got down, and these girls were so fucking good that I just freeballed it, and just for whatever reason, it looks like I can tap dance, but I can't. And it's so smart that you did that at the beginning of the movie, because never once again did I ever pay attention. It's like when you watch a movie where the guy plays guitar and you can tell that they're not his fingers, and then the whole time you're just focused on that. That was so fucking wise.
I had to do it, and as you know from your little bit of tap, you have to get your ankles very loose. So you can do those triplets and you go
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I was like, okay, I got to just show from the jump that we're doing this. And so yeah, that we had to do that because I wanted the audience just to be calm. But by the way, it's really insane to watch an audience gasp when I reveal something really heavy in the film. The entire audience is with us and they gasp. And it's
can I just tell you what that moment was for me? This, I swear to God, no.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
What the fuck? I swear out loud. It's I can't. This week, and I don't know if it's what's going on with me or where I'm at, but I've had 2 instances. One where I laughed out loud. I never do that. Meaning, I was watching something and I laughed out loud. Out loud. Andrew Schultz said he was going to make love to Kendrick Lamar, and all Kendrick Lamar could do at that moment was decide if it was consensual. Yeah. And I laughed out loud, and I fucking texted Schultz immediately and was like, "You just got me laugh out loud."
Yeah.
And when I was watching the movie, I actually went, "No, what the fuck?" out loud, incontrollable. And when you can do that in art to make someone, we do it with laughter, that's my thing. And if I can get someone to laugh, such a neat trick, Like I do it sometimes. I'll go, like I do it like at Ralph's when I'm checking out. I'll see if I can make them laugh, and I'll end up sometimes right away. Like I had this chick. We walked into Ralph's at the same time, and she was working there. She was as I was checking out, and I was buying steaks, and I was buying steaks and something because she goes, "You're partying today," and I go, "Yeah, I am." And I lean in, I go, "What time you get off work?" And she went like this, and I said, "I'm just kidding, I'm married." And she started giggling, and she goes, "I get off at 5, and if you're cooking these steaks, I'll come over." And I went, "Okay." But it's so cool to make like someone giggle just out of nowhere. Yeah. And it's like, and I kind of thrive on it. Like just the idea. But that fucking movie, man, made me yell out loud. Yell out loud. That's crazy.
Imagine immersing myself in that. It's so heavy, right? And dark. And then immediately going back to stand up. And then
how did you do that? What? So like, okay, this is what I was wondering. I watched this movie. I don't think I've ever seen this. I don't think I've ever seen you as vulnerable in a movie ever. I don't think I've ever. You have things that you do that are Jeremy things that I was wondering, like, you do. This is. you hold your mouth well in a movie. Like,
Okay.
I don't. When I act, a lot of times I'm a mouth breather, so I'll be like this.
Bro, what if they just taped your mouth during the scenes? Could you imagine?
You can see in scenes
They just bring the hostage tape in?
I close my mouth at times,
Oh
where I'll go
my
like this,
God.
and then I'll go.
Yeah. Can we get a muzzle for Bert?
It's so bad. Like, and the other thing, the thing I'm known for, and Leanne made me, we were doing this thing, and she was like, hey, you're saying her lines. And I was like, okay, good. Thanks for the heads up.
But you were also doing that during the roast a bit.
I did that. I read everyone's jokes because you could read them.
Right. No, I know that, brother. I know.
I could read all the jokes, and that's all I did through the whole roast. By the way,
one of the ways I think that the culture is changing is because the roast that you were a part of was the most watched piece of content, on Netflix.
Yeah.
And so people just want to laugh. They don't care how edgy it is. Some people are offended, whatever. They just want to laugh. And so that's, you can try to check off these boxes, or you can really adhere to the business of it, which is to go, yes, it was genuinely funny, and everyone was watching.
Yeah.
So let's go. I feel like that was a turning point moment, don't you think?
I feel like it was a pivotal moment for comedy, because you realized, especially, not that I thought cancel culture with jokes was fun, but it definitely made writing jokes more interesting, and it made taking chances way more interesting. I remember when you could say whatever the fuck you wanted, and it was like, and then people get upset, and you're like, it's just comedy, and you didn't care. You're like, whatever. And then when you were like, ooh, they're getting upset, and they're like trying to kill you. I was like, it's almost like hunting when the animal can hunt you. It's like hunting bear versus hunting deer.
It's a higher level of difficulty.
Yeah, and I never really pushed the boundaries too much, but I like to push boundaries. And I've taken stuff out that I think would have gotten me in trouble. I've taken it out because I go, I don't really give a fuck. I don't want to deal with it. I would never have done what Schultz did with Kendrick. So I go, I don't want that drama. Like, that will keep me up all fucking night long. But I think, I think that roast changed the game. I think that it was like, I think everything's about to change. I watched this movie last night, and I thought, I don't know how much you made it for, but I thought, hold on. So now Jeremy's making his thing, right? And he's getting the money to make his thing, and he's showing everyone what he can do. I'm getting offers to do some things that are, a little more like their things, but they're at that nut price point. You start going, well, maybe I can just make my thing. And maybe that's what Netflix is letting us make, our things. They're letting us make our things, whether it's stand-up, whether it was The Cabin, whether it's a TV show, whether it's Tires. That's just Shane's thing. He goes, I want to make this. And they're like, cool, make it. And I see where this is happening. Now, this is the question I had for you. Because I go, okay, so you make your thing. You see that process. It pays off. It's going to pay off in spades. It is going to, the way that people see you as an actor, if they haven't already seen this, it's going to take blinders off in a wild way. But then what's the end goal? So like, say I get to make a bunch of my things and they're real successful. What is the end goal? Like, do you want to be in a Marvel movie? I don't really. I don't think I do. Or do you just want to keep making more like this? Like, what do you want? Well, this is wildly successful. And Hollywood says, Jeremy, when you get that call after the Oscars, you can do whatever you want. Offers are rolling in. What do you want to do?
Well, it's interesting. I was walking up on stage at the Improv last night, and Craig Robinson, who saw the film the other night, looks at me and he goes, you're going to quit stand-up, aren't you? That's what he said to me. And I go, no, why? He goes, you're back, brother. You're back. This is a whole other thing. And I was like, quit stand-up. You know how addictive it is to make people laugh. So to answer your question, and it's interesting because I've never, even though I've been very lucky and I've won some awards for acting and all that kind of stuff, I've never received reviews like this in my life. And one woman who's a reviewer said to me, this changes everything. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, are you going to continue to do things that really matter to you? She said.
Oh, fuck.
And she's an older woman who's really cool.
Yeah.
These people that just don't give a fuck. You hit a certain age and they're just going to give it to you straight.
Yeah.
And she just hit me with that. And I was just like, it was just, and she was right. And so I thought, I'm going to immediately sell out. Immediately. Is there just a Sprite commercial? And then, it's even worse than that. What's worse than selling out is trying to sell out and you can't do it. No one wants to hire me to do the Sprite commercial. No. That's a great question, man. One of the incredible things about, it's funny, someone said to me, stand-up's going to make you a better actor. And I was like, what? I can't even do the math on that. And he was right. Because when you get on set, because doing a lead is not easy, what you did. And the reality is, yes, we're writing all our material and you have to have so many different things going on at the same time and play off the audience and be available to go off your bits and improvise and blah, blah, blah. But you are performing.
Yeah.
And so
you are performing. Rosario Dawson said that to me. I was getting ready to leave for Serbia, and I was like, I'm nervous. She goes, about what? I said, acting. I've never acted before. And she goes, honey, you've been acting your entire life. And I said, what? She goes, how long have you been doing stand-up? At the time, I was like 20 years, 22 years. She goes, it's the same thing. I go, yeah, but I'm just me up there. She goes, exactly. And I was like, oh. And so I just looked at it like stand-up. I was like, these are all bits. These are all bits, I'd say.
Right.
Treat them the same way as you would on stage.
Exactly. And from being in all these different rooms, and they're all different, they have different dynamics, and you have to navigate that shit. And this guy said it was very interesting because I got taken out of the game for a minute, and I was just doing stand-up. I'm doing 200, 250 shows a year, like out doing, five shows a weekend, playing the Rusty Chuckle Bucket in Des Moines, Iowa. Let's go. And just grinding. And then I went back to movies and I was like, holy shit. Like, it was very interesting. I could write a book or something about almost like someone navigating stand-up later in life and what that's like, and then going back, because one does inform the other. Because you're performing and you're using different parts of your brain, and then one informs the other, and then suddenly you're back acting and you've been getting your reps in. So you have no rust on you. None. And that's what you saw in the performance, the movie, the performance, where I had no rust on me and I was just in it, fucking in it, man. And it was amazing. And I never thought stand-up can inform acting. It didn't make any sense. They both can inform each other.
Yeah. Man, can I tell you this is where my marketing brain goes? You gotta really like weaponize that's not probably the wrong word, but weaponize the synagogues around here. Like, get them, like, they should have a Hanukkah screening. Like, because what's crazy is, I heard a comic one time say, they make so many movies about the Holocaust. Like, can you imagine if they did that with other things? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, what if they did like 2 movies on Titanic? And I was like, and I laughed. And then I thought of that joke when I was watching yours, I go, do you know why they do so many movies about that time? And because there's so many different stories. It wasn't just one boat. It was a country. It was a world. It was all of fucking Europe, the majority of Europe.
Yeah.
And so, and this story is such a different.
It's a completely different take.
It's a completely different take.
And it's before the Holocaust really existed.
I mean, and there's things I'm gonna, I don't want to give away anything, but there's scenes in it that shocked me that they really had happened. Like just bleep it out so that I don't. But
yeah. You can talk.
No, because I'll tell you why. That was the moment you guys were in the car. That conversation was the thing that fucked me up the most. Because you're like, yeah, it's almost like, well, yeah, I'll take 3 flights to get there. Like, hold on, that's all they need? Yeah. But like,
we've all had those moments. Like, oh wait, hold on, you do whatever it takes, bro. But then and you get obsessed. Yeah. I'll be there. Oh, I can get right off the plane. I'll go right on the stage. Yeah, it's fine. I don't need to take a shower.
Not realizing, not realizing what it entailed and to watch your character realize what it entailed and what was happening, and then to watch. That was such a breath. I mean, like I said, I don't want to get into that too deep, but you should really. I mean, this Hanukkah, I'd somehow get screeners out to synagogues, because it's such a different story, but it's all about the, like, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like, it's It's all about that person of that ethnicity winning in their way. And I just thought, that's all I was thinking.
And at the same time, I do really believe that there isn't anyone that can't be affected by this, because it is a universal theme.
Yeah.
And because we, whoever that oppressed and the oppressor is, whoever that is, we can identify with that. We can identify with finally coming to terms with who we are in this life, standing up for ourselves. You know what I mean? And that's really what it's about. So it's accessible to everyone, but you're right. There are certain groups that would rally behind it for sure. I'm trying to figure all this out,
Yeah, we had here's the thing about Jewish people. They've really got fucking amazing sense of humor. Like it's so funny that, like, what was the joke? God damn it. The joke about fucking Mike Gibbons told it to me about Hitler and the Nazis, and then that's why it wasn't funny, because
you had to be there.
No.
No, that story about the Holocaust.
Yeah,
where you say something horrible, and then you say to God, "Oh well, no, you don't get it because you had to be there."
He tells him a Holocaust joke. Yeah, I guess you had to be there. That's fucking. But like, it's that's what I was thinking about that.
Well, it's called gallows humor. You probably coming out of the Holocaust, you had to do something to keep your spirit alive and make each other laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because in every Jewish community, everyone's, a comedian. That's the Catskills and all,
My next door neighbor is one of the funniest dudes alive. But he's great. He's from Israel. He's fucking awesome. I have to sometimes be careful not to make too much noise getting into my car, because if it's sunset and he's drinking, he'll be like, and he hears me, he'll be like, "Bert, come over," and we'll end up drinking tequila all night. He had us over for Passover. I forget the holiday, but it was one where the whole family comes over, and everyone, the big table and everything.
Well, that could be Yom Kippur, it could be Passover.
I saw something the other day. Which one just happened?
Passover.
I saw him on Passover walking down the street.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking good, man.
You talk about, basically Passover is like what you're grateful for in this life. You know what I mean? And you're just giving thanks. L'chaim
is my favorite toast in the world, to life. Yeah. What else are we toasting? Fucking what else? This is crazy. Yeah. I'm dying to see what happens with this. I'm dying to see where this goes. And I feel really lucky that I'm the first person to talk to you about it like this in a long form.
Well, I somehow knew, because we've connected, over the years a little bit. And I just somehow intrinsically knew that this movie would land with you, that you would get it, And so it means a lot to me to sit down with you, because we're both in all these different worlds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? and we understand them, and we're navigating these different lanes. And yeah, it's fascinating, because I'm learning the business aspect of it. It's funny. I played this businessman, and now I actually have to do it. And I never did it before, but people assume that, oh yeah, you're great at business. It's like, well, no, I come from an acting family where, like, we were always on stage. I came home as a kid, and I was like, we've been robbed. I said to my mom, what happened? We got robbed. And she goes, no, we're using all the furniture for the theater. We're doing a Chekhov play. I'm like, why are we using I want to watch cartoons. Why can't you be normal? What the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, my parents were like, we were always on stage. And I was like, Dad, can't you just be a mover, something normal?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, and so I didn't realize how lucky I was. I've been on stage since I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is the culmination of everything. I'm getting really fucking dramatic right now.
It is the culmination. Dude, this is your thing. This is it. It's so funny. I said, this is legit the performance of a lifetime. When you look at this actor, and he's been in amazing projects. This is his performance of a lifetime. And my assistant, Peter, goes, better than The Goods?
Yeah. Which is a funny movie.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, a lot of people are like, why didn't you give up? I was like, I couldn't give up on myself. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you gotta stick it out. And by the way, we have to sometimes. No one's gonna save us. You know what I mean, man? People are we're all looking. Can you save me? It's like, no, brother. You gotta save yourself.
That's a fucking man. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you doing this, and we can try to get, if you want, we'll try. I'd love to get you on Something's Burning.
Let's
just
do
promote it a little more, but have more of a hang and bust balls.
February 7th, it comes out, big. And when will this come out? Do you think?
This will come out, I'm sure, New Year's Day.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and so
amazing.
Yeah, New Year's Day, and New Year's Day will be a big day.
Yeah,
big cool. Media day because I'm doing New Year's Eve. I'm doing hosting it for CBS.
Oh,
so
shit.
Yeah, so it should get a lot of traffic, and hopefully everyone is just jumping to see this movie. And then, if I'd love to get you on Something's Burning, we do it with 2 people. So whoever you want to bring them on. We'll do 2 people. I'll cook you a meal, and then
That's
we'll promote
amazing.
even more. Promote it because once again, this is sincerely just a great fucking movie.
Thank you, bro.
Great fucking movie.
Thank you.
Better than The Time Traveler's Wife.
Thank you for taking the time. A lot of people, you are one of the real ones, and that's why people love you.
Well, thank you,
thank
brother.
you, man.
Thank you.
L'chaim. You got to lean into it.
L'chaim.
Motherfucker. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
To life.
I'm going to grab a drink and toast it right
Let's
now.
go.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.